Well, hello there. Back out on the trail for the first time since my Foothills Trail hike. I picked the warm one to do it on. Heat index is in the upper 90s today, so gotta just take it easy, get some distance in, get the legs loosened back up, and see what happens. Just doing this one back out here at Leita Thompson. Like I said, nice casual midweek evening hike just to get back in the swing of things. It's a kind of a quiet one out here on the trail tonight. I think the heat is keeping a lot of people indoors, but that's fine because a nice quiet hike gives me time to think, to ruminate, to ponder, and I've had a lot to think about lately, especially as I've been working through the video edits for my Foothills Trail, looking back over what I experienced and seeing it through the camera's eye as well as remembering it through my mind's eye. And yeah, there's a lot for me to consider. Obviously, as I've mentioned, I've got some adjustments to make in my approach for any future through hikes that I want to attempt, whether they be a shorter through hike like the Foothills Trail or something more ambitious like my ultimate goal of the Appalachian Trail. But I'm going through all the things that I need to consider, how I can reduce my pack weight, through the gear I take, and perhaps even, a different backpack itself. Also, my approach to food, considering the food I take and how I can prepare myself to be able to take in the calories I need to counteract the ones that I'm burning. And above all, just a mindset difference. I can't think of a through hike as a sequence of day hikes repeated, but it's a completely different animal. You're dealing with, typically more remote terrain. Obviously, you have to deal with, depending upon the hike you're on, terrain that can be considerably more difficult, and the distances you're traveling. Are you trying to get stuff done within a time frame, or are you trying to hit a specific distance? All those change the approach to how you handle each day and the trip overall. So these are just some of the things that I've had rattling around in my head over the last weeks ever since I got off trail. And getting back out here tonight just gives me good context for putting all those thoughts together and starting to develop a plan for what I'm going to do going forward. Well, hiking continues to surprise. You never know what you're going to see on our trail, no matter how familiar the trail might be. Now I see people out with their dogs on the trail all the time. So taking pets with you on a hike, not a big deal. And occasionally you'll see people with a stroller or a backpack where they've got either a smaller dog or maybe a cat. I've even heard of people taking their rabbits out on a hike. And I don't know if I've mentioned or not, but we actually do have a pet rabbit. But I just passed a father and his two sons out. They had a couple of dogs with them, but the father also had a device, I'll say, strapped to his chest with an enclosure on front in which there was a parrot. So I have now seen a hiking parrot. One more thing to add to my list of that which I never thought I'd see. Nearing the end of my second lap, which will be the end of my hike, and so I'm going to go ahead and close things out. It's been good to get back out here. My legs and my feet have missed the feel of the trail, and I know it's only been a week, but after going through something so intense, the break was noticeable. It was needed, but noticeable. And I'm glad to be back out here. As I noted in a previous video, I've passed the 500 mark. I'm into the second half of my journey. I'm into the second half of the year, and everything is still going on track. So I look forward to what lies ahead, what trails and hikes I have before me, and how we will finish this journey strong. But for now, thanks for coming along with me, and we will see you on the next trail. Well, hello there. Out here today on a glorious Sunday afternoon after church to do a hike out at the Sawnee Mountain Preserve, which I've not been out here for several months, so it'll be nice to see how the seasonal change has impacted this trail. I think it was very early in the spring when I was last out here, so should be lots of additional growth as I'm noticing, and a much greener and shaded experience. But right now I'm dealing with the collection of rocks and roots on the initial ascent of the mountain. So I'm going to focus on my footing, and we will check in down the trail. Well, I've definitely noticed a change in the trail, and I'm grateful for it. The canopy has fledged out into its full foliage, and it provides some welcome shade in what would otherwise be a very hot and oppressing day, with no clouds in the sky and the sun beating down with mid-July temperatures. It could quickly become unbearable out here if it was open to exposure. So the shade is much appreciated, and I think I've gotten past the majority of the initial rock and root section of the trail. Things have leveled out a little bit for a bit. I think there's more ascent to come, but enjoying the relatively easier going. I can keep a strong, even pace, and that makes the hike that much more comfortable. Well, one thing that I'm endeavoring to put into practice on the hike today is some of the lessons I learned from my thru hike. As opposed to my normal practice of doing my day hikes, of just continuing on, drinking as I go, and not really stopping, resting, or anything like that. You know, the practice I learned for maintaining energy and pace on the Foothills Trail of stopping every half hour, pausing, resting, getting a drink. We're going to see how that works out for me today. It is warm even with the shade, and I need to make sure I'm staying hydrated. So still got a bit of an ascent here to the final peak of the mountain, and I'm going to pause here, take a 5-minute rest, and then continue on. I'll let you know how things go as I progress along the trail. Well, getting close to the peak, having cut across and then circled around the backside of the mountain. and now turned the corner at the far end of the loop and heading back up towards the peak, where after which I'll cut back across, basically making a figure eight of the loop, using the ridgeline trail to cut across twice today. I've continued the every half-hour break. I've had 2 more breaks since I last checked in, and at both of those I had a portion of the food I brought out on the trail with me today to serve as my lunch, and that, combined with the rest in the water, has continued to keep me at good levels of energy, even with basically having near continual ascent so far on the 2.5 miles I've done. So we'll continue to see if this practice reaps benefits as it has so far, but it's looking good. Continuing on, I'm crossing once again through the trail that cuts across the loop, and doing so puts me in the shadow of the mountain, or I say in the shelter of the mountain, more likely, where the breeze that I was enjoying up on the ridge along the outer edge of the loop is blocked from me, and so the air has gotten a little bit still and heavy again. Be looking forward to getting to the far side of this and hopefully re-experiencing the breeze, which was quite pleasant, and I was enjoying it immensely. But retreading my steps here, and when I get to the far side I'll be going to the right and heading down finally, done with all my ascents for the day, which over this last little bit there's been basically up and down, and looking forward to just a steady decline to finish things off. So continuing on here, watching my steps, so I'm going to put the camera away and we'll check in when we're on new trail. Well, I'm getting close to finish things out. Probably got less than half a mile to go, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up the video. It's been good getting out here, getting some distance in. Looks like I'm gonna have probably just over 6.5 miles today. Been trying to put some lessons learned into practice, and they seem to be effective, so we'll continue to refine and improve our hiking experience. But so far we're off to an auspicious restart of things coming out of my Foothills Trail hike. Thanks again, as always, for coming along with me today, and we will see you on the next trail.